Hello, 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 hello. So I didn't finish all my homework today because I went to watch the amazing. I was gonna take a nap, and then right before I was gonna take a nap, Eve went live. Everlong Mystic, and I was like, "What?" So I was watching Eve, and then I took a nap, and I finished one class just now, and I was like, "I want to open another deck," and so I'm gonna do the last two at the same time. Um, this box is huge. Shout out to Twitty again. Thank you. The Dolly Tarot. And it's literally bigger than my head. Well, let's see. Let's see what Senor Salvador is all about. I used to have I gave it to my mom because I didn't have any room for it. It's a Salvador Dali melting clock. Like it's a, the persistence of memory, persistence of time, I think, is the painting. Um, it was a little clock that I saw in a store that had a gong that I never got, but it's the store I got my singing bowl at. Persistence of time. Right? Yeah, persistence of time. And I'll see if I can find it was this one. Well, it hung. Yeah, it was this one, but I think it was silver. And it's literally like this. It was that clock. I saw it in the store and I bought it, but it would always fall off my desk. I would always knock it off. Hey, Holly. Oh my gosh, this is felt. I did not expect it to be felt. Le jeu de tarot de Salvador Dali. Dali posait un bateleur son épouse gala d'avion. I don't know any French. Uh, don't know German question mark either. Salvador Dali's tarot deck. Dali poses as the magician. His wife, Gala, becomes the empress, and the death of Julius Caesar is reinterpreted as the Ten of Swords in the artist's extraordinary custom tarot deck. First published in 1948, this edition brings back the full set of cards along with a companion book with practical instructions. Like the felt on gold is magnificent. Like it's actually a purple felt. I didn't know this was a felt material. Oh wow. Girl, the book is huge. Okay, this I can keep. This I can find space for. Oh my gosh. It's like a solid gold brick. It doesn't weigh as much, obviously. Oh, they have pictorial sources and everything. The top, the Arches of Saint Chapelle. Bottom, the Last Supper, the National Art Gallery. What? Oh, and then they have it in English. They have it in a few languages too. That's why the book is so big. It's full of secrets. She does. I'm like, oh my gosh. I was not expecting all of this. Let's see. I'm interested to see what, and I haven't gone through any of these completely. Um, I think there's a lot of decks that I may not have gone through completely, actually. I think the before and the after tarot were the only ones that I like actually flipped all the way through. Because sometimes I like to be surprised. I'm like, I want to be surprised when a card comes out. Ooh, what's this? These, I feel like they're as big as the other ones. No, these are a little, they may be a little, nah, they might be the same size. It's like this hard to shuffle. But these are, they have a little bit more give to them than the other ones, so they're actually easier to shuffle. Let's give it a few. Give it a few. Give it a few. Shuffles. Let me change the title of this. There we go. The bottom. Oh my gosh, girl. Don't tell me you ain't gonna tell me. Hello? I think the bottom of the deck is the Eight of Wands. Am I gonna have to count these? Is there a number anywhere? Hello? It almost reminds me of the Tarot of Magical Correspondences a little bit. Or maybe it's just that one card and how, like, oof, I'm like barely in the frame. Ugh. There we go. What's the first card this deck is going to show me? If I had to. Oh. So it came out with one and then it came out with three. Okay. El Sol is the card that came out. And it's interesting because I saw the Knight of Pentacles, and the Knight of Pentacles looked like an older individual on a horse, like no longer a naked baby on a horse. I don't remember if they were naked, but it was sun energy. And then the sun is the card that came out. This deck is going to be an interesting one. It's interesting that they have XVIII instead of XIX for 19. They also have Gemini. Gemini is on the sun instead of it being the sun, but I think the sun was on the Magician. I think. The other cards that came out, it's the Page of Coins, the Ace of Coins, and the King of Coins. I mean, if the difference between the Page of Coins and the King of Coins is the size of his bank account or her bank account, then that's a really big pinnacle. But it does feel like there's almost this energy of like no longer having to ration things out. I mean, it's the Sun card, it's the Page into the Ace into the King of Pentacles. It's like good times ahead. Um, and it's funny because I was talking through my dream with Russ and with Reem, a little bit of rhyme. I was talking through my dream with Russ and with Reem. And by the end of it, it was a feeling of like the test is over, the results are in. Well, it was a feeling of the results are in. The results came in from the test, right? The bottom of the deck is the Tower, which is interesting because the Tower was one of the last cards I saw from the Starman Tarot. And it's also interesting because the Starman Tarot came out with the Five of Pentacles and the Nine of Wands, which was an energy I saw in the Mystical Manga Tarot. So they are sort of referencing each other in some cool way. R&R dream therapy. I mean, I don't know if I got much rest, but it was definitely a dream. The Tower is Aries. And it's interesting because the Tower, it has this rift. It's almost like a rift in the water, but there's a doorway in it. Or it's feeling like a doorway right there. And then the eye is in the Tower again as well. Was it Starman? I think it was Starman Tarot that actually had cards that felt like they were this size. Le Tour or Le Torre. La Torre. I don't know how to pronounce things. I do want to see. I'll go to this Tower card. Pictorial sources. Readings. The gold on purple is an interesting choice to read. Les Hermites. They don't believe in the IX in this deck. They believe in the XI, but not in the IX. Because number 9 is VIII. They don't put the I before anything. Temperance 14 is XIII. XIII. Yeah. Oh, Russ and Reem is R&R. Yeah, I'm not there, Holly. I was like rest and relaxation, but I don't know about that. But gotcha. La Estrella, La Luna. Oh wait, I passed the tower. La Torre, La Torre. It says encounter with the absolute. Oh, that's what this tower is. It's an encounter with the absolute. I'll read it. I feel like this is such an awkward length book. I love it though. Wouldn't change it for the world. Two archetypes determine the meaning of this card: the Tower of Babel and Pentecost. The building of the Tower of Babel is a symbol of human megalomania, culminating not only in the destruction of the tower, but also in the Babylonian confusion of tongues. Pentecost is the opposite of the building of the tower. The Holy Ghost descends upon the disciples in the form of a storm and tongues of fire. As they start to talk, everyone hears themselves speaking in their own language instead of a confusion of tongues. This event symbolizes the tearing down of all language barriers. Babel and Pentecost are two opposite poles. Violence destroys and results in speechlessness and confusion. In contrast, love tears down all language barriers and makes true communication possible without limits. The card cautions you to be aware, or to beware of megalomania and lack of steadfastness. There might be rocky times ahead. You are urged to leave your ivory tower and your personal objections and pretenses behind when the time is ripe. This card also involves jumping out of the clouds and turning the free fall into flying. I've never heard of the Pentecost. I know like Pentecostal is a denomination of Christianity, question mark. As they start to talk, everyone hears themselves speaking in their own language. Instead of a confusion of tongues, this event symbolizes the tearing down of all language barriers. And behind the tower is strength. So there's Aries and Leo. Fuerza. And under Fuerza is El Colgado, the hangman. I mean, if this tower card could either be things coming apart or coming back together. With the Sun, the Page of Pentacles, the Ace, and the King of Pentacles, they're definitely coming back together. This is like gorgeous energy. Okay. I feel like it's like, you made it. Now I want to do what I didn't get to do with the other deck. I want to see 3 cards to tell me what you're about, please. Because that was so much fun. Tell me what you're about, please. Dolly Tarot. Like, what are you, like, what's the context? No, well, first tell me what you're about, and then I'll ask for the context. And 3 cards. I'll take up to 3. Oh my gosh. I think that was more than 3. Yeah, that's more than 3. Oh, Loco, the Fool. That's more than 3. That was like 5. Who is this? Oh, Loco, the Fool. This is going to be an interesting deck to read. Okay, tell me what you're about, please. There we go. And I got 3 cards. Nope, I got 4, but I'll take it. This is funny because 3 of the cards that just came out are 3 cards that I literally just saw. Fuerza, El Colgado, La Muerte, and Templanza. Strength, number 11, Leo. The Hanged Man, number 12, Uranus. The Hanged Man is Uranus in this deck. Death, which is actually Saturn instead of Scorpio. And Temperance, which is Aquarius instead of Sagittarius. It makes sense for Aquarius being the water bearer. Also, it makes sense for Aquarius being represented as the angel. And the lion, the bull, the angel, and the eagle. Fixed signs. See, I would say that it's something. What's at the bottom of the deck? The bottom of the deck is Justice. And it's Libra. Libra and Aquarius, Saturn, Uranus, and Leo. See, there's something about it where it's like, it's about unsticking. I feel like. Strength is 11 in this deck, and justice is 8. It feels, though, like in this strength card, do all of these say Dolly? Yeah, they do. It's easier to see it in the first 3, though. Because here's Dolly on top of this little blue lion statue, question mark, right there. There's Dolly above the head or below the head of the hanged man. There's a little Dolly. Well, I'm assuming it's Dolly because it looks very similar to what was on the hangman next to the rose. And it's interesting because the hanged one is a rose in the Weaver Tarot, but I don't see it on. It could be in the hair or something, but it doesn't immediately catch my eye in this Temperance card. And so maybe that carries an energy of rebirth. Because with Temperance being the angel, it's almost an energy where it's like there are no names on the other side of the veil, or you're known by a different name on the other side of the veil. You're called something else. You're called your true name. But the strength card, it feels like this is a womb above her head. But I don't know if it's entirely hers. See, because there's this interesting energy where it's like the majority of this energy is hers. You can see like the reds, but there's this blue that comes up and encapsulates the whole thing. And then it runs down that side. I love that this is a strength card that isn't about her sort of wrestling a beast in some way. But I don't know. This would definitely have to be a deck I sit down with. But I feel like I'm getting more of those lately, which is cool. I'm actually going to read these. Oof, too far. Wait, did I go too far? Okay, here are the majors. Who was that? Strength. The Art of Loving. This card is all about dealing deliberately with your vital energy and lust of life, the love of all creation. The flowers on the card may be the flowers of love, but could also be Baudelaire's flower of evil. Dali's signature integrates the swastika, an ancient Indo-Aryan symbol of the sun and of life. And that puts an interesting twist on this because it was something holy. And it isn't necessarily less holy, but it's definitely historically tainted now because of what it was used for. And so maybe this is an energy of like how something can be used outside of how it was intended, and how things take on different meanings because of the light we view them under, with that Leo energy. It's almost like it was stripped of its purity. And so then there's a hanged man energy. And it feels like the hanged man is a space of deciding, something between the balance of dealing with vital energy and the lust of life. Lust of life feels very, it's like a love of life is one thing, a lust of life is another. And the lust of life feels very like Knight of Wandsy, where it doesn't have much room for consideration. It's very self absorbed and self centered and interested in only fulfilling what it desires to fulfill. The Hanged Man. I'm reading these to also see if I like the book. The Hanged Man is passion. At first glance, the upside down position of the Hanged Man appears to be rather grotesque. No wonder that strangeness, rapture, and the absurd are all elements of this card. But there is another important element. The Hanged Man is at peace with the world, except that his point of reference is not worldly but transcendental. His essence is suspended in the heavenly, the transcendental, in a manner reminiscent of religious images. At the same time, the picture could be interpreted as an underwater world, a land of dreams, or an other world in which the hanged man is immersed. That reminds me of the hanged man in the mystical dream tarot. So there's an energy here where it's like it's maintained its sacredness. Ooh, this deck is going to challenge me because I don't necessarily personally agree. I don't really. Because I'm a respecter of histories. I'm a respecter of the pains of people. And I know there are some people who choose and believe otherwise, and that's fine. But the question, I guess, here is like, do we sacrifice the sanctity of all that that symbol was because of how it was used? Does the use of something change its meaning? Is the thing itself any less? Is a rose less sweet because you call it by some other name? Oh, the rose is like literally right here. But maybe that's also a part of the earth stuff that we learn to let go of. Question mark. Death. Oh my gosh. This is 11, 12, 13, 14. I mean, I just started shuffling it, so it's not a huge surprise, but they fell out. So, and like I said, three of these I already looked at because they were like at the bottom of the deck or behind what was at the bottom of the deck. It was behind the tower was strength, the hangman, and death. I didn't see temperance behind death at the time. I don't even know if temperance was behind death at the time. Living uniqueness. This card is all about something coming to an end. Depending on whether you consider this good or bad, you will experience joy or sorrow. The card also warns that there is something you must attend to. You have to let go of something and create some space in which the rose may blossom. The wide open landscape and the long lines emphasize the impression of great openness, perhaps even eternity. The high flying swallow evokes a feeling of exuberance. So there's something within this deck, I guess, that holds an energy of reclaiming or reclamation, of resanctification. And it instantly makes me, I mean, it's like an undoing energy, but it makes me think of Hod unseeing. Like, not to be blind, but to unsee what was seen. To the point, it's like where it's more than forgetting that you ever saw it, it's after seeing it, never having seen it in the first place. And what's done can't be undone, can it? I mean, if that's, I found the Dolly. The Dolly is written in red right there. I didn't notice it the first time. There's something, it's like, if that's the question, then the water is pouring. And I think Eve said that um, Eve unboxed the tarot of curious creatures. And in the Ace of Cups, she said it looked like the water was flowing up to the cup instead of it flowing out of the cup. Who knows? Temperance is Aquarius now, instead of Aquarius being the star. But both cards have like similar imagery. Somebody in water, pouring water. But in the star, it gets released to the environment, to the land and to the sea. In temperance, it gets poured into another cup. And it almost is a question of what is your truth again? Because we're poured out into these vessels. Maybe it's an energy of truths that are more expansive than can be contained. And it's almost like that's why a certain thing may not change the truth of something, because there's even more truth to the thing than we know. Right? It's like Oreo O's. When Kellogg and Post broke up, question mark. And so Oreo O's was, I think, a collaboration between the two of them. And so that's why Oreo O's stopped being a thing, because the company fell apart. But in South Korea, they still had Oreo O's because whoever was making it over there was still making it. And so it's like you would think that because the events that transpired would have taken all the Oreo O's, or the production of all Oreo O's on the planet would have come to a halt. But there was indeed a place on the planet where the situation or circumstances were different enough that its production was not affected at all. And it feels like a similar energy is here, where it's like there's a circumstance, a situation, a place where the truth of the thing is still the truth of the thing, where it remains untarnished and untainted. And maybe that is poured back. Like, I could logically, my brain is like, maybe that's poured back into it to dilute the contaminant and to increase its purity to return it. But dilution and undoing are not the same. I mean, I don't know what can and can't be undone. Is undoing a thing? Maybe there are many tragedies greater than we've ever known and will ever know that have happened and have been undone, and the clock was like reversed. Almost like that one episode of The Magicians when they broke the moon. True will is temperance. The image differs from all the others in Dolly's tarot deck. The colors are relatively pale, creating a somewhat overexposed impression. The image is more like a sketch than a finished painting, and it also seems to be less artful than the others. All these features have given rise to considerable speculation. Rachel Pollack has called the picture a crude comic. Others consider it to be a rather awkward homage to Dolly's lady friend Amanda Lear, while still others simply suspect that Dolly didn't know what to do with the card called Temperance. That's funny. It's like maybe he just didn't know what to do. But going back to that energy of something holding a truth greater than our understanding of it, I think that plays in here somewhere. And I love that the bottom of the deck just so well, no, actually, it's number 8, so it's a few cards behind. Let's see. Justice is mindfulness. It is but a small step from the right attitude associated with the chariot to justice, a cardinal virtue known from antiquity. How can we manage to do what is right for us and abstain from that which is false? The land on the card represents familiar territory, and the water, the uncharted territories beyond. In order to judge wisely, you have to connect the known with the unknown and learn to distinguish one from the other. The scales of justice measures what is only vaguely known. Unclear feelings, thoughts, and physical sensations have to be evaluated. Prejudices have to be overcome. Dolly adapted the woman from one of Lucas Cranach's, I don't know how to pronounce that, the elder's famous paintings. Her wild mane represents an abundance of life force, but also the invincible spirit of justice. Her maidenly body encourages a reappraisal of virginity, a theme already addressed by the card the Hermit. Some people consider virginity and innocence to be lost forever with the first sexual encounter. Others regard these virtues as being goals of personal growth that we have to work towards. Innocence is not something that can be lost, it is something to be gained. That's Bertolt Brecht. This kind of virginity and innocence is exemplified by mindfulness and the ability to get involved while avoiding entanglements and over identification. So I feel like that card at the bottom of the deck is going back to that whole, it's like just because the symbol was used in a certain way doesn't necessarily tarnish what the symbol stood for in the first place. But in reality, the symbol is a symbol. And so we can sacrifice a symbol, we can give away a symbol. We can stop using a symbol because of what it was used to do while still maintaining the truth that the symbol stood for. The symbol is nothing more than a vessel for the energy, but the energy persists. Here's the card, by the way. Ooh, what card is this? The 7 to the 6 of Wands is behind this. Justice. Okay. So then, temperance being alchemy would be able to find another vessel or to create another vessel for that energy. It's like the energy would be able to find a different way to manifest itself. And that it almost brings in a reincarnation y type of feeling. I think there is an energy of not being overly attached to symbolism, not to the point where we treat the symbol as the thing itself, rather than honoring it as a symbol of something else. An affront to the symbol is like just a symbol. I mean, it's done with the intention most of the time. It's done with the intention of dishonoring the energy behind the symbol, but at the end of the day, the energy behind the symbol is like untarnished. The only thing that's been vandalized is the representation of the thing. And this, it's like it carries that energy of like the person who will be like, here's a $20 bill. Who wants this 20? And then everyone puts their hands up, and then they fold it in half, and they're like, who still wants the 20? They crumble it up, and they're like, who still wants the 20? And then they're like, no matter what happens to the $20 bill, it's always worth $20. It doesn't lose its value because of what happens to it. And so that is playing off of a theme that came out with the other ones, but this one is doing it in a way that it's very like, even though the Starman was a little like more out there, it still felt more personal. This feels like more of the macro scale that we then have to scale down to the micro or to the what's in between macro micro. Not zoomed all the way out, not zoomed all the way in, just the now, the here, the here. And I think we say that love and fear cannot simultaneously exist. But it's almost like this death card is saying that they can and they do in many places. There are some things that we can only fear because we love. And so that fear would be non existent without love. Some things, not everything. Okay. What was the second question I said I was going to ask? I don't know. Just let's get some interesting cards. I'll get up to 5 and then I'll just read them and then I'll sell them. We'll see. We'll see what they look like and I'll read them from the book. Oh, goodness. I don't want to like bend the mess out of these either. So I'm trying to shuffle them. Okay, these shuffle a lot more nicely. Um, this one. Yeah, that's like extremely easy. Much easier than the other thing. And they have a nice bend to them that allows you to shuffle them that way too. Still a little like, you see that? Up to 5 cards. Just, I'm going to read it out of the book. I think I like the book for this. I love the book so far. for these, but I would love to see what the book has for like minor arcana energies as well. That'd be like really cute. But, just I'm just gonna wait until something comes out. I had not actually listened to Easy on Me until it was sent to me earlier today. I think I saw it, like everyone was like, Adele released a new song. And it's not that I don't love Adele or like Adele. And it's not that I don't love music or like music. I was just not whatever at the time, and then I forgot about it. So the first card that comes out is and I'll do them one by one, and I'll look at the bottom too. The first one that comes out is the 10, 3, 6, 7, 10. The 10 of Pentacles with the Queen of Cups at the bottom of the deck. But then that's hilarious. El Diablo is like drawing mustaches on the Queen. You could draw a mustache on a queen, but like she's still a queen, right? Devil energy can do everything that it can to make her look foolish, but she's still who she is. She still has all the power and authority that she had before. And if she's a good one, she still has the confidence and the self-worth and everything else too. Not good art. You know what I mean. Not that it's bad to like be concerned or be affected by other people. It's not bad at all. Let's see. This 10 of Pentacles has to be like the last card. I guess they do the court cards first in this book too. The 10 of Pentacles is magical moments. What? Another thing that I love about this 10 of Pentacles, though, this is like the energy of someone who has a rich internal life. It's like everything that was in the womb before that blue thing had like sort of shaded over, it's grown inside. And it feels like that being inside will manifest it on the outside. But I don't know. Bathroom stall tactics, exactly. You go to the bathroom one day and somebody like wrote something mean about you. You're like, what? I ain't gonna say it to my face though. I'm kidding. Magical moments. The scene from the painting, The Turkish Bath, 1863, by somebody. I'm not even gonna try. In conjunction with the butterflies and the 10 coins in a circle, represents the joy of living, the best results, proliferating talents, and great wealth. I love that the best results is one of the things. When I said I had the dream about getting the results in the sun with the Page of Pentacles, the Ace of Pentacles, and the King of Pentacles energy, it's like the best possible outcome or one of the better outcomes to a situation. Devil energy ain't win this one. Gorgeous. The communal bath represents the joys of sensuality and spiritual questions. The bath is a symbol of baptism, of rebirth, and of purification. In a spiritual sense, the card shows a true fountain of youth. Who had that earlier? Or was it yesterday? Was it the Empress? I was because I remember being like, Descartes. No, it was Twitty because Twitty said, I think Twitty said she was born in like 18 something or something like that. And I was like, what? Twitty's been around for a few hundred years, y'all. Twitty found the fountain of youth and hid it so Descartes couldn't find it. Was Descartes the one that went looking for the fountain of youth? I don't even remember. Anyway, that's when I said that. The card shows a true fountain of youth. If we bathe in its waters, daily contact with other people will not drain us, and we will be refreshed. The greatest wealth lies in acknowledging and fulfilling your contribution to the course of events. Your own experiences and those of others constitute a greater whole. You know that you will not be able to hold on to anything, and that change is inevitable, heralding new opportunities. You are aware that your actions are based on those of your ancestors, and that the younger generations will carry these forwards. Time is relative. Nothing ever gets lost. Nothing keeps you from living and from feeling your own rhythm. Nothing stops you from lingering or moving on. So I feel like this is a whole bunch of choice. Practical advice here: cooperation, exchange, mutual support, and compromises are great as long as they are the result of each individual involved following his or her own path. They become unnecessarily limiting if based on sacrificing your independence and your individuality. Touch the moment with the magic wand of individuality and contribute to a communal style of living in which each and every individual can walk his or her own path and joy. Then the bliss of mutuality will blossom, culminating in a culture of shared intentions. Aquarius was the temperance. There we go. What was on the sun? Was it Aries? No, the tower was Aries. What was on the sun? I don't remember. I don't think it was Uranus. No, because Uranus and Saturn, Libra, that was those cards. I don't remember what was on the sun card. I can look it up, but I'm not gonna. The bottom of the deck is the Queen of Cups. I gotta find the court card, so give me a second. Please. Uno momento, por favor. Okay. Oh, so we count down from the kings to the pages. Once there was a Dolly. Oh, no, they just do it at the beginning of the suit instead of at the end of the suit. Got it. Where'd the queen go? Hello? Is the queen at the top of the suit in the Dolly Tarot? Question mark. Is she? She is. The queen comes before the king. Maybe that's why somebody drew a mustache on her. They was mad. Somebody was mad at this queen. They was like, "Oh, why is she taking charge?" Like, or they was like, taking charge, having authority. That's a man's position. And she said, "Okay, like I can put on a fake mustache and a goatee if you want me to. I'm not giving up my power." Hey, Corey, what's up? That's what I'm saying. Yes. Queen is like, I rule this castle. But that goes back to the energy of the Empress and the Emperor. And the queens, the princesses, and the Empress in the Tarot Apocalypsis, and how a lot of them actually carry the authority. And it's because of them that their husbands are kings or princes or whatever. The birthright is held within them. And I guess, we have the energy of this womb here too. The womb that was in the strength card. Like Mulan. Maybe the men can relax when the queen arrives. I mean, I would. I'm like, she got this. I think, though, this queen, the outfit of this queen in particular, the only queen I've seen so far, reminds me of the Hanged Man. And so maybe that was an energy of her playing small or diminishing because of what the world told her her role should be. Let's see. I don't want to lose my page, but I'll see if I can show you this. How are you doing, Corey? Did I ask you? You see that? How they both have that like similar color scheme in the netting or whatever. Maybe not. But it reminds me of that Hanged Man. The Queen of Cups, the voice of the heart. A rather idiosyncratic, yet truly apt composition. In the upper right corner, we see a little heart or a rose, which symbolizes the shadow as well as the product of exuberant imagination. Similar to the phantom shown in the Page of Cups, what at first glance appears to be disheveled hair and two crutches become arteries and veins on closer inspection. The central figure represents the heart itself, which is being nourished by the great blood vessels and from which all smaller arteries emerge. The Queen of Cups is really a queen of shells. Her head is graced with a crown that boasts a peak reminiscent of the dome of St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. In this card, Dali has used elements of at least two famous paintings. The central figure elements of at least two famous paintings. The central figure was taken from the painting of Elizabeth of Austria by Francois Chloe. I don't know how to pronounce his name either, or her name. Their name. I don't know how to pronounce their name. Whereas her thin mustache was inspired by Marcel Duchamp's well-known persiflage. Is that how you pronounce that? Of the Mona Lisa. I've seen that word, but I feel like it was like persiflage, but I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. Let's see. Hey Siri, how do you pronounce persiflage?
Okay, I
I
found
think
this
it's
on the web for how do you...
persiflage. Hey Siri, how do you pronounce persiflage?
I found an answer. It's displayed on your iPhone.
Girl, read it. Not perseverance. Hey Siri, pronounce Persiflage.
Okay, I found this on the web for pronounced persiflage. Check it out.
Persiflage. It is persiflage. Okay, girl, I don't know. Maybe persiflage was how I was saying it before I heard somebody say persiflage, and I was like, "What?" But define it. Persephone. Hey Siri, define persiflage.
Persiflage is a formal term. It means light and slightly contemptuous mockery or banter.
Oh, light and slightly contemptuous mockery or banter. See, they call it slightly contemptuous, but you can tell somebody was like big mad when they did this to the image of the queen. But it also, again, it carries the image, instead of it being a symbol of a greater energy, it's like an image of a person. It's like something can work against your image, or people can try to work against your image, but if you maintain your integrity, then your truth is unchanging. Your truth is unchallenged, regardless of what happens to your image. And it's that unwavering truth that, I mean, like, it's the Queen of Cups. She literally provides all the water for this bath. Very Alzheimer energy. Very, very hanging in and hanging on. It's all we can do sometimes. And it's a lot sometimes. It's a great doing. Why was they mad at the Mona Lisa though? Sounds like Marcel Duchamp was jealous. I'm just playing, maybe not. Maybe Marcel Duchamp was like, why is Mona Lisa so famous? She's so basic. Like, put a mustache on her. I don't know. Maybe he was just having fun. With his unique composition, Dali underscored the intended double entendre. What intended double entendre? I'm confused. The central figure was taken from the painting of Elizabeth of Austria, whereas her thin mustache was inspired by Marcel Duchamp's well-known persiflage of the Mona Lisa. With his unique composition, Dali underscored the intended double entendre. I might have to ask Gary to define underscore. Does underscoring something bring it to the forefront and make it more? Because if persiflage is supposed to be like lightly contemptuous, whatever, does it like emphasize the contempt so you can tell that it's contemptuous instead of like, are they being funny or are they mad? And it's like, no, they mad. They big mad. And you're like, oh, stay mad about it, I guess. Or do better. I mean, I'd say do better, but a lot of people prefer to stay mad. Many, even modern interpretations, accept only one aspect of the Queen of Cups and reject the other. That's hilarious because I have not been given the Queen of Cups her props lately. I mean, a lot of it's been the Queen of Cups shadow and the Queen of Pentacles being able to do what the Queen of Cups is not as easily able to do because she loves and cares so much. But it's like, but if you're enabling the situation, then you're kind of sort of actively making it worse, even though you don't want to see them in pain. And it's a catch-22. There are no right answers necessarily, but the Queen of Cups can do what needs to be done in those situations. The Queen of Pentacles, sorry. The Queen of Pentacles can do what needs to be done. Oh, see, that's interesting. Because now that introduces an energy where it's like maybe there was some sort of community. Maybe you were doing well, and there was an energy there that fell out for whatever reason. It fell out of alignment with this, right? And so, in its contempt, it's like, oh, but I thought you cared about me. Oh, but I thought you loved me. Like, if you loved me, how could you be doing so well while I'm miserable? And it's like, girl, if you loved you, you would be investing in yourself so you're not miserable, and you wouldn't be holding me and my life and my joy and happiness hostage while you continue to piddle around and do whatever you're doing. Because what I'm not going to do is that, because I love me as well. I love both of us. Or not. Don't take it or do. Many, even modern interpretations, accept only one aspect of the Queen of Cups and reject the other. Some praise her sensitivity, her emotional and psychic abilities, while others are critical of her reserve, toughness, and introspection. In fact, all these attributes are equally fitting. It is our task to find the common denominator in all these conflicting emotions and eschew one sided perspectives. Openness and coherence, softness and hardness, female and male qualities are the poles that make for an intact inner life. The result will be spiritual autonomy and personal independence. Practical advice: take a walk along a river or lake, meditate near the water, embellish yourself and your surroundings, show the beauty and costliness of your feelings, open up your heart. I don't know. Some people will be like mad though. They're like, you've changed, you're different. It's like, yeah, I found a way to be happy. And if you cared about me, you would be like, you would rejoice in that. You would be happy that I'm happy and not threatened or made more miserable. Oof. But not everyone is capable of doing that, unfortunately. But we all got stuff to work through. So, if they work through it, then maybe they come back around. If they don't work through it, then maybe they're better off gone. And it's funny, or interesting. It's more interesting than funny, but I've been thinking about an old friend today. And I thought about reaching out he's the one that I had like a trauma bond with. Like we bonded over how depressed and miserable we were, but I didn't want to stay depressed and miserable. And so I started to like do stuff. I started to invest in getting better. Um, and they would like, he would talk about like, oh, like I'm thinking of doing this or maybe doing that. I was like, yeah, like if you're thinking about it, do it. Like things are kind of sort of happening for you right now. And I know that like you want to be able to show up more and be less affected. But then he'd always be like, oh, well, it doesn't work. Or he'd self medicate in some other way. And it reached the point where it was like, if I was like having a good day or having a good time, he would try to intentionally like ruin my day or bring the mood down. And it reached a certain point when it was like, I care about you, but what I'm not about to do is sacrifice my happiness, my joy, my progression, my movement, my betterment that I'm actually showing up for myself for in order to stay wherever you want to be. Like, I'm not going to do it. I didn't have the courage to have that conversation in real life, but when an opportunity for distance came, I took it. And I was like, actually, I don't want to hang out anymore. Was it kind of crappy? Yeah, but it was a conversation I wasn't able to have at that point in time. Okay. So I took advantage of the opportunity that the universe gave me. And I wish them all the best, of course, but I couldn't keep sacrificing my own happiness for somebody else who wasn't willing to invest in their own. It's just like, oof, in reverse. The Two of Cups came out, Ace of Cups fell out on the floor. I picked it up in reverse. I'll read both of them. Bottom of the deck is the 9. It has to be of Wands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, the 9 of Wands. And it's funny that we're talking about, especially with that Queen of Cups and her water, but it actually came out earlier today in the Starman Tarot, I think. Um, or maybe it was yesterday with that 9 of Wands in the Mystical Manga Tarot. Or no, I heard that or I read it. Someone was talking about having, someone was like, said something about trying to swim or trying to tread water when you're drowning or something like that. It was something like that. And this is an energy that's like drowning. It's like they're drowning, but it looks like they also have scuba gear on. So they're like, well, I can breathe. So I guess I'm just down here. And it's like, but you don't want to wait until you don't have any air to try to come to the surface. Because, anyway, let's see. Excuse me. Happiness makes unhappy people angry. It does. But, I mean, eventually, maybe one day they do it for themselves. I'm like, you know what? If we were both like miserable and that person isn't anymore, maybe I can do something to not be. Because misery, as cute as it was, it's no longer for me. And I was happily miserable, intentionally miserable for a long time. Been there. And I couldn't stay anymore. If I did, I wouldn't have survived. So I made the only choice I could make. And it was actually the easiest choice to make because the alternative, it's like there was no alternative. So anyway, inner life. This is the Ace of Cups. I'm actually going to read the 2 first because the 2 came out. And then the 1 went flying. I can't hold both of these at the same time because this book is ginormous. So that's why I'm like,
I'll do my best. Let me not say I can't. I will attempt to. I will try. I could do it like this. This card shows a scene from the painting of Cupid in Psyche by someone whose name I can't pronounce. Sorry, Francois. Another Francois, but a different Francois. The Greek myth, as related by the Roman Apelles in his work, The Golden. Ooh, tiny little synchronicities, y'all. And the golden donkey. I'll just say donkey. Today, you told a girlfriend that her mood swings were taking a toll on our friendship because she's too focused on problems and not seeking solutions. And, like, that's a hard conversation to have with somebody. And, like, I remember literally with my one of my good friends, my Libra buddy, who like sometimes tries to be my only frenemy, who I have to sometimes remind I'm not interested in having frenemies, girl. If you can't be encouraging and supportive, I don't want it. I don't need you in my life. I don't care who you are or what you do for me. I'll be better off. But he would like always offer solutions. He's like, why don't you do this or why don't you do that? And I was like, I don't want you to offer me solutions. I want you to listen to me and validate me. And he was just like, there was nothing he could do. Fortunately, I got better. And fortunately, he had the patience to sort of like be there with me through that. But I was also like making attempts to get better. I wasn't just like not doing anything. And also sometimes he just like he doesn't completely think through stuff. And it's like if you listen to me, you would know that what you're offering as a solution doesn't address the underlying concern in my life right now. But anyway, it's a hard conversation to have. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And hopefully, you know, maybe one day they come back around. So, this card shows a scene from the painting of Cupid and Psyche, the Greek myth as related by the Roman Apelles, or Apuleius, in his work, The Golden Donkey, tells the story of how the human psyche and the divine Cupid longed for each other, and how after many trials they were finally united. That love can indeed give wings to the lovers is symbolized by the yellow caduceus of Hermes and the winged lion's head. The caduceus and winged lion were inspired by the Two of Cups tarot card by A.E. Waite and P.C. Smith. These images represent both the happy uniting of two people in love and their fatal entanglement. On the abdomen of the prostrate Psyche, we recognize a big wide open eye. This is a part of a face which has been drawn around the scene in silhouette. On the left, the lips and the hairy chin of this head can be seen, which is reminiscent of a well-known portrait by Rembrandt. The unkempt hair on the chin and on the back of the head also point to certain characters from the story of the Golden Donkey. All in all, this is a thoroughly ambiguous and complex picture. The Two of Cups card represents the polarities of our emotional life, sympathy and antipathy, affection and repulsion. Affection and repulsion. Each of us has to learn to deal with the two souls dwelling in our breast. As long as emotional matters are disturbed, you will not find your true identity. Our spiritual growth depends on the clarification of ambiguous feelings, leading to emotional maturity. Was that the Ten of Pentacles or the Queen of Cups that said something about needing to face that which is like, and I think it was actually the Justice card that talked about how things can sometimes be like ambiguous or something like that. I'll read it again because I'm curious. I want to know. Okay. So, this kind of virginity and innocence is exemplified by mindfulness and the ability to get involved while avoiding entanglements and over identification. But this one had like a big entanglement. Oh, I see it now. There are pictures within pictures in this deck. What? So, this is the eye. Well, first I'll hold it up so you can see if you can see the face. But, like, here's the eye, there's the mouth, that's the hairs on the chin. That's the nose, I guess, or the outline of the nose, and that's his head. Question mark. It's about managing aversion and repulsion. And I feel like it is kind of sort of represented by the caduceus. But there's no staff in the caduceus. There's just the snakes. But it's like, they come together, they go apart, they come together, they go apart. Ace of Cups. Let's see. What time is it? My left eye is starting to burn a little bit. Oh, it's 12:20. Okay. I'll get one more and then I'll be done. I ain't going to be able to do all 5. Inner Life. This card features 2 double images. I'm not going to hold it. This card features 2 double images. 2 faces are shown in profile facing each other on the left and right side of a single cup. But the same visages could also be interpreted as 2 wings, raising the cup into the air. This image hints that the cup is a symbol rather than. Wait, sorry. See, my shadow is making it hard to read. There we go. Because it's like right on top of the words. Maybe if I push this up, then my shadow, no, it's still on top of it. Maybe if I put this, but I don't want to push buttons on my laptop. Maybe if I hold the card in my right hand, if I hold the card in my left hand and the book in my right hand, this will be much easier. Yeah, that's easier. This card features 2 double images. 2 faces are shown in profile facing each other on the left and right side of a single cup. But the same visages could also be interpreted as 2 wings, raising the cup into the air. This image hints that the cup is a symbol. The cup as a symbol is rather ambiguous concerning fullness as well as emptiness, good emotions as well as bad, exalted as well as pompous modes of your psyche. Their psyche again. Well, first Psyche was the person that Cupid fell in love with, but now Psyche is just your psyche. But anyway, Psyche is Psyche. Another contradiction of this card is the contrast between the vastness of the sea and the limited capacity of a single cup. Oceanic feelings enable us to experience connectedness with all. The single cup stands for the individual's inner life, the soul. Here, our place in the community is as important as our distinctiveness as an individual. If we manage to attain harmony, if we manage to attain harmony of the individuality within the great flow of life, we will experience a very special baptism and drink deep from the fountain of youth. See, there's that baptism fountain of youth energy again. I think it was in the 10 of Pentacles. Pretty sure it was. Or was it the Queen of Cups? I don't remember. I don't remember anymore. The secret of the Ace of Cups lies in purification of the psyche. If you can learn to delve deep into your feelings through reconciliation or by letting go, thus ensuring that no bad feelings or compromises dull the clear mirror of your soul, you will stay young regardless of your age. The pictured seascape is more than just a personal tribute to Dali's homeland. It is a general representation of the idea that we all are in need of a place we consider our true home, which we will find wherever we can purify our psyche and recharge our batteries. In short, wherever our soul takes wing. This is not the time for great promises or expectations, but for personal integrity. Settle all problems that dull your feelings, clear your emotions, and take your own cup into your own hands. So there's the energy of what? The fountain of youth and purification again. And it's this purification oneself, the clearing of one's psyche. It's like, I feel like that's the majority of the trials that separate Cupid and Psyche. It's like Cupid was divine, Psyche was human. So Psyche had to work through her own psyche to discover the truth of who she is and to embody that truth enough to meet the divine in a way. The bottom of the deck was the Nine of Wands, which speaks to the challenges, obviously, of purifying one's own psyche, right? This is the one that's drowning in the water rather than being able to manage one's own internal emotional seascape, ocean, and cup. But I'll read it anyway. I'm not going to hold it up, but I'll read it. Oof. Is that the Four of Swords? Why is that? Oh, okay. Well, the Nine of Wands is stalking. This card is a symbol of searching, of awareness, and of intuitive perception. Many things are growing. See the Nine Wands and changing. The autumn scene. Okay, now I'm going to show you. The Nine Wands are growing. The autumn scene implies change. It's autumn here in North America now. North America, in the Northern Hemisphere, and in North America, I guess. But less specifically, the Northern Hemisphere. Like a hunter stalking his prey or a scout exploring the way, you need to be intuitively alert and vigilant. Naturally, this card is not about the actual hunter or scout as a profession. It is a symbol of heightened awareness as a personal way of being. If your perception has been heightened, you will be better able to understand the motives and hidden interests behind certain actions. Thus, you will be able to discover the green man in the woods. This figure appears in many traditions. He symbolizes nature around us and within. Dali depicts his green man with frog's feet, thus making him an amphibious creature living between water and earth. He reaches out to the stalking hunter. On the other hand, this card shows us the final goal of all of our searching. Intuition and awareness are the path as well as the destination, the journey as well as the reward. Sometimes we get lost in routine and repetition. We fail to perceive the great mystery that is awaiting us. On the other hand, again, this card encourages us to say goodbye to the uncivilized life of a semi barbarian. Intuition and awareness serve to overcome certain primal fears. Let go of redundant instincts and presumptions. Trust your actual perceptions and learn from all your experiences. The practical advice here is your actual situation challenges you to become more vital and to live life to the fullest. Abandon your old fears and fulfill your most important wishes. Activate your senses. Learn to recognize outdated habits. And that again, it carries an energy of maybe it was the Hanged Man. At this point, I don't even remember. But it said something else in there that I liked, or that I wanted to touch on. Wait. Sometimes we get lost in routine and repetition. We fail to perceive the great mystery that is awaiting us. That's not it. I feel like that energy was somewhere, though. Let go of redundant instincts and presumptions. Intuition and awareness serve to overcome certain primal fears. I don't know. But I feel like this is all the reasons why we can't be as open and fluid and vulnerable, why we can't be happy or fulfilled. And that in it, like I talked all about that earlier with the Starman, I think. Or was that yesterday with the Mystical Manga? Or did it come out in both? Honestly, I feel like it's been a theme lately. But earlier today in the Starman, at some point, I'm pretty sure I did talk about an energy. It was with the Prince of Swords, and how if you carry a sword, you're going to have to use it. And how our perception of things can keep us living the same reality. Our perception of our perception of things can keep us like living the same experience, even though our reality has shifted. And again, it was the energy of like everyone inviting you out, everyone reaching out to you, everyone wanting to be your friend, everyone showing you love. But you believe that you are some unlovable, socially outcast pariah that no one wants anything to do with. Meanwhile, in reality, people are making efforts and extending them to you. But since your perception has been one of isolation and loneliness, since you only allow isolation and loneliness, it becomes a truth that you carry. It becomes a non-truth that you carry that becomes more true the longer you keep that as your experience, the longer you refuse to allow anything else. And a lot of times things are personally done for good reason, right? Like we're protecting ourselves from whatever. But again, it's like, well, it's going to reach the point where if you want more, if you want to experience something different, there are some things that you're going to have to leave behind. Some ways of being, some ways of belief, some ways of viewing the world. Which is why I have to be not constantly, but sometimes often reminded to release the path. Because we all come to it in our own way and in our own time. But I hold out for the ultimate destination, for that which I want to experience more globally and universally. While also, understanding that it takes time, just like it took me time. Some people it takes more, some people it takes less. Some people it takes sunshine, some people it takes rain. Some people it takes the rainbow after the rain. Some people it takes the rain after the sunshine. You know what I mean? Oh, come on. I've been doing so well with cards not falling on the floor. The Two of Swords is here, which is interesting because it looked like we got a little drunk donkey. I actually love that the book mentions the different artistic sort of influences because it helps give context to what is seemingly otherwise just like busy or abstract or difficult for me to sort of comprehend or understand. Girl, I think I dropped the card. But maybe I didn't because I'm not seeing it. But maybe I did. Y'all ever have phantom card drops where you like shuffling or something and you hear a card drop or you feel one drop, but then you look and it's like all your cards are still in the deck. And you're like, okay, but I saw you. I heard you. I felt you leave my hand. How did you get back in there? And it's just a subtle reminder that the cards can do whatever they want, just like everything else in your reality. All of a sudden, one day, everything has changed. And you're like, what? Snow in May, but what about the strawberries? 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 40. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 50. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 60. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 70. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have all the cards. None of them fell on the floor. The bottom of the deck now, though, instead of it being the Two of Swords, it is Judgment. Might have wanted to get the Two of Swords. Here's both of them if you're curious what they look like. Oh my gosh. You see half of the deck almost just slide out of my hand. The card that came out is the Ace of Swords. See, this is where that deck is going to probably do that thing that it does sometimes. I'm just assuming I haven't really used it yet. Literally just opened it. Where it goes like super macro, metaphysical, whatever. And I'm just like, wait. So the Ace of Swords is here. We see the same swallow that we saw in whatever other card we saw the swallow in. We see justice, strength. We see the void full of flowers that we saw in strength that was surrounded by the blue. Now the blues turned green. Well, there's still some blue outside of it, but closer to the void now, I don't know if you can see it, it's green and then it's blue and it's connecting up to this. So there's an energy. This is more solidly green than blue. There's a little bit of an energy here of, that is a crown. It's almost like a weird, but very understandable, almost like kill him with kindness energy. Where it's like, oh, so like my light offends you. Want to see how bright I can get? Want to see how happy I can really be? Want to see how much I can really turn my life around? Because that's what I want, regardless of how you feel about it. But it's almost like because something was lost, we find more. It's because sometimes we don't know how strong we are until we have to be that strong. Sometimes we don't know the answer until we're asked the question. And we don't know how resolute we can be until we're forced to be. And so it reminds me of when CERT came out. And CERT was coming out with an energy that was like, it was so about like completely crushing somebody. But it's like it reaches the point where you go too far, where you activate someone's self-defense mechanism. And then they finally stand up for themselves. And it's because they were pushed so far, because they were mistreated to the degree that they were, that they finally come into the power of their voice. Because they reached their breaking point and they were made better rather than being destroyed by it. And maybe and Judgment is at the bottom of the deck. Judgment is Pisces. Oof. Judgment is Pisces in this deck. It's like, yeah, no, I'm not deserving of this. I don't care how. And I saw something earlier today. It was some like really nasty dude who was like, your self-esteem is so low, like I can treat you like absolute garbage. He was like, I think you have what did he call it? Not a shame kink, but it was like you have no self-esteem. I can talk to you and treat you like absolute garbage, and I know that I can do this because you can't, because you know you can't do any better than me. So I'm going to talk to you any kind of way, and then you're still going to come over and do what I'm asking you to do. And it was just terrible. But it's like, then it's like, hold up, wait. Like, even if I do feel some type of way about myself, even if I don't think I'm the most whatever, I know that I'm better than this. And then it's like maybe it becomes the thing that catalyzes an activation of self-love, of self-worth, of seeing the truth of who we are truly, outside of what we've been led to believe we are because of what we've experienced and how we've been treated and talked to or whatever. And so it isn't necessarily as like hugely metaphysical as I initially thought it might be. So that's gorgeous. Because I was like, oh my gosh, where is this about to try to take me? So this is the crowning achievement of the mind. In tarot, swords stand for the mind's weapons. This symbolism dates back to the figure of Justitia from antiquity. The attributes of the goddess of justice, one of the four cardinal virtues, were tools in the form of a pair of scales and a sword. Not only an executioner's instrument of power, the sword was a means to form a judgment like the scales. While the scales measure, the sword examines and discerns, being used to make deep cuts and to draw the line, separating that which belongs from that which does not belong. On this picture, a bare hand holds the sword at the blade, indicating the pain that might be inflicted by this weapon. However, the image also emphasizes that this card is not just about fighting or other martial uses of arms. Accept this hint as a gift, enabling you to view the sword in a different manner. There's another energy of viewing something in a different manner that came out before. Probably with what, the Ace of Cups or the Nine of Wands that was at the bottom of the deck. I don't remember. The realm of the mind is the air. The swallow and the angel remind us of the heights and depths of the world of the mind and of spirits. A single sword already expresses the ambiguity of the human mind. On the other hand, it is the crowning achievement of creation. On the other, it represents the greatest possible alienation and distance from nature in all its glory. To develop the former and avoid the latter is up to us to learn to fly. The fruitfulness of the mind is measured by the refinement and fulfillment of practical needs. The Ace of Swords stands for the opportunity to gain a better understanding of your unexpressed desires and fears. Note the red being at the left margin. Practical advice: rise and stand up straight. Gain strength from your knowledge and delve into everything you don't yet know. You possess and you will need clear reasoning and staying power. Brain jogging and physical exercise will support your mental facilities. Enjoy your newfound clarity. And this is a card. Hey, Britmas. It's like red on one side, swallow on the other side. Oh, maybe that's the angel of justice in her shadow. At first, I was like, I don't know what that thing is. I don't know. Mm-hmm. 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 It's time to read Justice. Mm-hmm. The sun is Gemini. That's who the sun is. That's when I'm like, wait, Gemini. Maybe. We got day and night. Oh, there we go. El Juicio? Ucio. Jose. Ucio. Uicio? I was like, the J is the H, right? Yeah. The day of judgment is today. The day of judgment is today, is at the bottom of the deck with the mind, or with the crowning achievement here. The crowning achievement and the day of judgment is today. The day of judgment is today because we've reached the crowning achievement. And it's like, okay, cut. Like, we got everything we needed. This scene is over. This act is over. We're wrapped up. We've wrapped up shooting this movie. We got everything we need. Right? And the first energy with the Ten of Pentacles did talk about rewards. Right? Magical moments. The scene from the painting, the Turkish bath, conjunction with the butterflies and the 10 coins in a circle represents the joy of living. The best results, that's what it was, the best results. And now we have the crowning achievement and judgment. The day of judgment is today. The image on the card is a traditional depiction of the day of judgment, somewhat modified by the butterflies. So that's why I read the Ten of Pentacles again, because the butterflies. Or that's what I'm going to say. Modified by the butterflies and the two faces in profile. What two faces in profile? Oh. See, this is one of the faces, and this is the other face. We got the two faces reminiscent of the Ace of Cups here. We got the butterflies reminiscent of the Ten of Pentacles, where it was like the best reward. And then we have the resolution of the energy that was found at strength. Strength, the Hangman, death, and temperance. So maybe that's why judgment is at the bottom of the deck. It's like you've like everything you needed to get, you got. Congratulations. You're moving on to the next round, the next cycle, the next season. Autumn was about change. And that Nine of Pentacles. It was about finding the green man in nature or something like that. I don't know. An angel is sounding the trumpet. The graves are opening up and the dead are being brought back to life. In the foreground, we see an open shell. The Queen of Cups was all about shells, sketched in black ink, revealing its pearl. This detail represents the message of the card. Powerful forces are being set in motion. Latent energies are being awakened. Processes of change and transformation are imminent. This card challenges you to take a closer look at and come to terms with those extreme aspects of your life, desires and fears, as well as the habit of putting the blame on yourself and others, will have to be dealt with over and again until the mistakes of your past have been put to rights and your future path freed from old obstacles. Only then will rebirth be more than a mere repetition of the old. The story of Judgment Day is not just a religious myth. It is to be taken literally. The day of judgment is today. Each and every morning, we are faced with the task of becoming wide awake and gathering all of our energy so that we can really bury all that is dead and gone and prepare ourselves for the birth of what is yet to come. If we can accept every single day as a gift, we will gain in confidence and be able to welcome life's challenges. Desires and fears will always exist, but we can learn to deal with them appropriately. We will become receptive to the colorful spectacle that is life, which is inviting our participation. Practical advice here is let go of what has been. Say your goodbyes and make your peace with the past. Learn to forgive without forgetting. Everything is important. You have made your choices in the past, and now you are free to choose anew and to decide which road you want to take. And I love that energy being the last thing that I read out of this book, because I feel like that's what this has all been about. Like ever since the sun came out with the Page of Pentacles and the Ace of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles, and I was like, I had a dream where the results came in from the test, opening up to new cycles that are bountiful beyond bountiful, abundant beyond abundant, more joyous and happy than we can even imagine. Can y'all hear the train horn? Or not? It was. Here's the Judgment card again. It's time for me to go to bed. This reminds me of a card. The Two of Swords. I was like, this reminds me of a card I saw. It reminds me of the Two of Swords for some reason. Like this, whatever this like dais or whatever is, the tombstone, reminds me of the energy of the Two of Swords. But the Two of Swords is our ability to determine which side, which aspect, what world we wake up in. And it's like, it's by the way we feel the world, it's by the way we interact with the world. It's about more than just words and thoughts and also feelings. It's about words, thoughts, feelings, actions, emotions, the whole experience. The whole shebang. That's what it is. I was like, what is it? I feel like so many places I've lived at have featured train horns. Like when I go visit my dad, there's a train nearby, both where he lives now and where he used to live. Growing up, before we were in this place, in the place we were in before this one, I think, or the one before that, like there was a train nearby at night. It's like there always seems to be a train nearby. I was like, okay, I ain't mad. The school I went to, Purdue, the mascot is a literal train, and it woke people up on like what Saturday mornings. It's like, oh my gosh, must be game day. The Boilermaker Express is out there causing a racket. Ain't no sleeping in tonight. Thinking of how hobos rode trains during the Depression. Hey, Steph, how are you doing? What I like about that energy, it's like it's a way of moving, even when you don't necessarily have the funds to. It also helps that you probably don't have much to move with you. You can't sleep. I know sometimes I get like that before a lunar eclipse. Thankfully, I've been sleeping lately. Even though I've been having these, like I had the dream about the results coming in or whatever, and I could not get the image of the results like out of my brain. I couldn't go back to sleep. And then I took a nap and I had a different dream that also featured results, and I couldn't go back to sleep again. So, yep. Your maiden name is Purdue. What? Yeah, I went to Purdue for a long time. I was at Purdue long enough. People were like, wait, do I know you from this dorm or that dorm? or the other dorm? And I was like, well, I literally worked at all three. I worked at one for years. I was an RA in another building, and then I went to the third building and I worked there for like a year and a half. So I don't know. I remember though, it was like there were points in times, it was so weird, but like I would like I would see people on campus that I knew from like the dorm I worked in or whatever. And I'm like, oh, there goes one of my little freshmen out there. Have a good day. It was a chapter of my life that I enjoyed. What? Your daughters are waiting to see if she got into Purdue. Well, all the best, Amy. Boiler up, hammer down, let's go. Boilermakers. I saw a cute dude in Walmart wearing a Purdue shirt like a week ago. I wanted to be like, did you go to Purdue or are you wearing this shirt? I was like, what? And I kept looking at him. He kept looking at me. I was like, are we looking at each other? Or are you just like, why is this dude looking at me? But I was like, Kizzy Cat. Hey, girl. How are you doing tonight? Or today for you? Question mark. What time is it over there? Oh, yes, early in the morning over there. It's like almost 7, right? Oh, time goes back tonight. Time goes back an hour. No, Steph, I haven't watched it. I haven't watched it. I really like school too. Like if I could learn, if I could be a professional student, I would love it. It's 5:55 a.m. So right now you're 5 hours ahead instead of being 6 hours ahead because time hasn't gone back here yet. But after time goes back, then you'll be 6 hours ahead of me again. So I'm catching up to you a little bit, Kizzy Cat, but not for long. What's the final card from this deck? Final card, first read, Dolly Tarot. What you got for me? What do you got for us? Okay. Ooh. The final card is one of the first cards that came out. It's the King of Coins. I love that. The bottom of the deck is the Three of Wands. This Three of Wands has a partial energy of like a boat, because it really looks like the boat is departing. Well, there's two energies here. It looks like the boat is departing, and this person might be sad about it. The King of Wands is behind this Three of Wands. King of Cups, Three of Wands, King of Wands. But this person has wings. Like they could literally fly onto the boat. But it's like they're like, but these three wands are like keeping me from. It's like, but you can like literally walk around. There's a mermaid that's like, hey, like I can help you get to the boat. You can fly to the boat. There's more than one way to get something done. And it feels like assistance will find us in a number of ways. But when assistance finds us, when the path to fulfillment is made feasible, that's when we really have to question our own internal limitations. That's when it's almost like our self-worth is called into question the most when we're faced with what it is that we truly desire. And when we're faced with the opportunity of having it. And it reminds me of the quote that came to my mind earlier of like, maybe our greatest fear isn't that we're not enough. Maybe our greatest fear is that we're more than we can ever even be capable of imagining. But I'll read the King of Coins to see what the book has to say. You had daylight saving last week? What? It's tonight here. It's technically tonight. Oh, Holly already got you. I heard on the radio that it was for energy savings during World War One or World War Two or something like that. I was like, I don't understand why instead of it getting dark at like 6 o'clock, now it's getting dark at 5 o'clock. When it could be getting dark at 7 o'clock. If we went forward an hour in the winter, then like would we not? I mean, I guess the hours of daylight would be the same, but it feels like we would have daylight longer into the evening. But I guess it would be later in the morning when the sun rises. So it operates off of sunrise and not sunset. But I live a sunset life because when the sun goes down, I couldn't see. King of Pentacles. Let's see what he's about. Queen of Pentacles, King of Pentacles. Excuse me. Sense and pleasure. Ooh. See, that's another energy that popped up a lot in the beginning. It was like vitality, joy, living life, having our desires met, but needing to face our fears in order to do it. So, King of Pentacles is coming out with sense and pleasure. In tarot, the suit of coins represents matter in the physical body, money, and talents. The King of Coins is its master. Dali immortalized himself on this card. This choice can be interpreted in two different ways. Perhaps Dali intended to offer himself as a financial investment of sorts, as an authority, and as a special case. Then the viewer looking at the picture will feel how small and insignificant they really are in comparison with this artistic genius. But maybe Dali intended to portray himself as an example for every one of us. Then the viewer would understand that each person is called upon to be his or her own master in terms of wealth and well-being. The many fingerprints on this card are intended to show you that you need to become active yourself in a hands-on approach to creating your own fortune. The ocelot on a leash with a blurred face in the lower left corner warns against predatory instincts, becoming obsessed with material values and sensual pleasures. But at the same time, it challenges you to face fearlessly the animal and the predator in yourself and your fellow human beings. Dolly's relaxed, half sleeping pose, together with the resting bull above his head, warn against carelessness and complacency. In a positive sense, it encourages you to be at ease and to feel comfortable with yourself. You are your own greatest resource, your yields and harvest, vineyard and wine. Create a life and work style that fits your personality, your own personal culture. Become the architect, artist, and builder of your life. Practical advice here: reassess your financial situation as well as your talents and your desire for productivity and fulfillment. Take stock and make a survey of what you have accomplished so far and what is still lacking. Care for everything you have planted in your garden as well as in your life in general. All that is meant to last needs to be reevaluated. Sense and pleasure are the measure of appropriate personal wealth. The thing I like about it's like either this could be Dolly being like, haha, you'll never be as successful as me, or Dolly being like, you can go and create your own fortune. Honestly, that lies in the person. It lies within us. I know sometimes people completely misconstrue confidence for ego. They misconstrue like self-love for self-obsession. And it's like in your own lack of worth and value, you it's like you make comparisons to yourself, or like you compare yourself against everyone else. So in your reality, everyone else is like trying to prove that they're better than you or something weird like that. It's like, oh, they think they're better than me because they have this and they have that. And it's like, girl, I don't even know if you too much exist to them. I don't even know if they too much know you from anybody else that they pass on the street. I don't think it's personal. From them, it's not personal. To you, it's personal because of how you personally view yourself. And like, I had a friend who was just like, oh, this person thinks they're this and this person thinks they're that. And I'm like, no, like that person's actually pretty cool. They're not like that. But also his self-esteem was absolute garbage. Self-esteem was absolute trash. Absolute trash self-esteem. And it's like, I feel like there were things that he knew to appreciate about himself, but I don't know if he saw them as valuable. And like, I've been there myself, right? I mean, not to that degree, I don't think. But there were things that I definitely didn't appreciate about myself or within myself. There were things that I appreciated about like myself personally, but I didn't think it had too much value to anyone or anything outside of me. And all I could see were the ways that I wasn't, even though I did again appreciate myself for the ways that I was. But I'm weird like that. I think we can all be a little weird like that. But sometimes it is more of an evaluation of our own self-image and self-worth and self-love and self-value and self-everything when we feel more threatened by the happiness, joy, or success of someone else, or when we feel that someone else feels that they're better than us. And it's like, that's your insecurity, baby. That's nothing else. So Kizzy Farmers, what? Let me scroll up. Not yet, Steph. It is only... Wait, did it turn back? It's 1:05. I don't know if my phone turned back or not. I don't know if it's only 1 o'clock or if it already turned back. I think it's only 1:05 because I'm pretty sure. Well, I've been live for 2 hours. I don't know. I wasn't watching it, Steph. Is it 1 or is it 2? I have no clue. I have no clue. I don't know if it's 1 or it's 2. You're in the land of midnight sun all summer and 5 hours of daylight in the winter. Yeah, that's the one thing I would not. Like, midnight sun is one thing. 5 hours of daylight in the winter is another thing. Like, it's the Dolly Tarot, gifted to me by Twitty. It's huge. And it's felt. I didn't know it was felt. It's gorgeous. But the book is as big as the box is, so it is very unwieldy. But if Dolly is as eccentric as that king of coins made him seem, I see it. I'm just playing. I can't want it anymore. Okay, Holly, I didn't think so. Something, your regular clock says 1:04. Okay. See, it's funny because my computer is still on Eastern time, but my cell phone is on Central time. So my computer says the same time that my cell phone says, but I was like, did I finally change my computer to Central time from Eastern time? Like, I don't think I did, but maybe I did. And so Eastern time already hit the hour change, but I haven't hit it yet. So right now I am right now all of my electronics are synchronized until an hour from now. Then my computer and something else that I have is going to be on Eastern time again. So I'm like, what? Now it's 1, but it said 1:59 and went to 1. Yeah. Because at 2 o'clock it rolls back. I remember like working an overnight shift, and it was hitting that point where I was kind of starting to get tired, and I was watching the clock and it went back to 1. I was like, I gotta work a whole extra hour tonight. I thought I was gonna be okay. All right, well, I hope you all have a good whatever whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I hope that when the time comes for you to labor, so you can enjoy the fruits of said labors, when it comes time for you to sow, so you can reap, that you do whatever it is you need to do to get whatever it is that you desire. And I hope that you find yourself in the space, place, and position to face everything that needs to be faced, right? All of those fears, like the 2 of Cups, the Ace of Cups, healing the psyche, facing the fears, the fulfillment of desire, like all that gorgeous, beautiful stuff that it's like it's coming out. When you worked in the bar, you hated that, but I remember, like, I also worked on when like time went forward an hour, and I was like, I only got paid for 7 hours of work last night. That extra $8 would have been really cool. Well, like $5 after tax, maybe. But anyway, yeah, no problem. I only have 2 decks left. I have the Gilded. It's like the Gilded Lenormand and the Golden Tarot Reverie or something like that. And I think I want to open those together. I don't know. All right. Have a lovely time, everyone. Bye.